Hi Catherine, very nice work on the Breaststroke Supercamp. I think you made some really nice changes and you seem to be really understanding what we were talking about during the session. So I really like that you're putting the undulation into the stroke. See how we're getting the hips high to the surface as you're doing your kick, and that's sending you down under the water, and you're really getting the idea that you want your hands higher in your chest before you start your pull, much like you would on butterfly. But what I want to do is just sort of neaten things up a little bit and change your angle as you're recovering. We'll take a look at that again in a little bit more detail. You can see here, look, on your underwater phase, you're going a little bit deep, and I feel that's because you're tucking your chin and you're sending yourself down a little bit too deep, and then you're drifting and gliding up to the surface. So try to keep a good line underwater. Now, as you're pulling, one of the big things I keep seeing happening is that you're pulling your elbows too far back behind your chest. This is the position I want your elbows to be in there, that second pause. And now part of the reason we're doing that is because you're slicing in. Your thumbs are coming towards each other under the water, and you're pulling your elbows till they're behind your ribs and shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears. What I'd like you to do is to drive forwards and down with the hands so they're going along this green line rather than going straight down. And then as you're doing your pull, you want to turn your palms together so that you're coming in towards each other. And that squeeze, like we worked on in the camp, will give you the lift out of the water and stop you pulling your elbows too far back. And then we want to think about our angle. Rather than going straight down, I want to go forwards and down. As you're going straight down and you're dropping your weight through the water here with that slice and that delay before your arms recover, you kind of drop, you drive straight down on your kick, on your recovery, and it creates a little bit more resistance. Your kick technique, I think, is very nice. You're drawing the heels up towards the bum, you're turning the feet out, catching the water on the inside of the foot. And what I like is that you're kicking back and down. And as you do that, it sends your hips up towards the surface and it propels you forward down the pool. And you actually then push the backs of your legs up against the water and you get like half a fly kick buried into the stroke. But you're going to be able to emphasize that a lot more if you change the angle of your recovery at the front. So everything you're doing is nice, but with those few little tweaks, I feel like everything that you're doing that's nice will get exaggerated so it become even more efficient. You can see as you're coming towards the camera here, look, see how your hands are always loose at the front of the stroke, especially as we're coming down the length. That's what happens if you push straight down. It kind of puts too much pressure on the arms, so they tend to part because you can feel you trying to lift up towards the surface. Now again, that habit you have of going a little bit too deep starts even on your underwater phase. Very good position, that pull down there, fingertips towards the floor. Just squeeze those arms in a little bit, hands to the front of the legs, so that as you're recovering, you can keep your hands as close as possible towards the body. Maybe even stroke all the way up your body so you're keeping really, really tight. Keep your elbows in. And then you can see as you finish your kick, I like to start breaking out of the water now. You can see we have to drift a little bit. And I want you to think about that balance. As you're drifting, everything's a little bit loose. There's not much tension through the core, not much stability. So your left hand moved a little bit early, moved a little bit quick. Now again, look, you can see how you're going straight down, dragging those air bubbles with you. And as you're doing so, like I said, that tends to part your hands because it puts a weird sort of pressure on the shoulders and on the arms. So they kind of part and then try to come back together. And again, everything's just a little bit loose. Need a little bit more tension through the body. You can see the hands there, not together. So what I want to do here is to drive those palms in towards each other, like you're trying to clap your forearms together. And if you do that, your elbows will stay inside your ribs, and it will give you that lift out of the water without you having to lift your head to breathe. So we did a lot of work on that, emphasizing that squeeze drill down the pull side, then the shape of the pull. We were trying to put the ball under the chin. We're trying to do that at the wall, just focusing on the pull, on the squeeze, and then we were doing that in full stroke. So that might be a really good drill for you to use. Obviously use the down the side of the pull stuff. If you haven't got a partner to hold your ankles, you can do that just with a pull by between your ankles like I did on the video. But also take it back into full stroke because you can see here, look, from side on, your head's down in position, and then every time you come towards the surface, you're lifting your head. And as you lift your head, you just lose the tension in the catch between your hands and the body because it lifts and it kind of separates your elbows a little bit wider. Now, your underwater phase, want to maintain a good line. So everything should follow only the top of your head breaking through the water here. See how your feet are higher than your head? We want to try and keep them as close as possible, being in a straight line. So maybe rather than dipping your head, pull your head back like you're trying to give yourself a double chin. Pull your chin a little bit back. That's one thing that I had to do, so that as you come up to the surface now, you won't be caught so steep. Now again, that tension I keep mentioning, it applies to you all the way down the body. See how the feet were a little bit loose there at the end of the kick? Squeeze those together. As you're recovering with your hands, I want you to rotate your hands so your index fingers should go, so thumbs through the surface, rotating the hands so the index fingers are together. Little fingers will then be facing upwards in a V position, so you're straight onto that catch. Little fingers then go up and out, elbows high, and then get onto that squeeze, okay? Rather than letting your palms face backwards, thumbs slicing together. Now, like I said before, I really like the idea that you got your chest lower than your hands. You're getting that in, but rather than lead the undulation from going down with the hands, you want to lead it from the chest, just like we would do on fly. Turn those forearms in there, work on that squeeze, don't pull those elbows back. That will give you the lift. So very, very nice job. We're getting that undulation. We just need to think about where it's coming from. Like I said, exaggerate those good points. Complete that leg kick. Don't let your legs drift at the end. Make sure your head stays down. That ball under the chin drill could be a really good one for you to use. Think about using that 2 kicks to 1 pull like we did at the end of the session. That'll work really well for your timing. Your first kick is a fly kick, and then that breaststroke kick on that second pull. You should be accelerating out of that water there on that drill, and then use that timing then to make sure you get that pull as you're still moving fast through the water. Don't wait until you slow down before you initiating your pull. That's one thing that's sort of slowing the rhythm down of your stroke there. You want to pull just before you start to slow down, and that pull should bring you through the surface. You shouldn't have to lift the head to get yourself out of the water. Here's a list of key points for you to focus on. But really nice job, Catherine. I hope all that makes sense. But worked really, really well on the camp, and your strokes seem to really change throughout. So good job. Well done.